What's poppin', people? It's Dante. I'm currently filming with the Insta360 X3, 1080p, 60 FPS, and I have the FOV set to the maximum, so it should be the widest angle possible, just hand holding it and testing the single lens facing towards me. I woke up this morning thinking, okay, it's time to do some radical innovation. I want to make new things, new videos, and have, you know, something to experiment and tinker with. Here we have Palestinian flags draped on the car here. You know, war, war, war. Every day is war. We're wrestling with God, right? What does Israel translate to? Yeah, I spent some time in Israel. 6 months in Jerusalem, 3 months living with a Palestinian family, volunteered on a kibbutz in Haifa. So I've been on both sides, right? And I've experienced all of the West Bank. I went to every major Palestinian city. I photographed on the front lines, seen a lot of shit, experienced a lot while I was living there. Looking at these pigeons up on these poles, and you know, I ate a lot of pigeon while I was living with a Palestinian family. The kibbutz was interesting. I was working with cows and also gardening, so I got to learn a lot. Looks like there's a demonstration going on. Something's happening. You even got skateboarders over there. So yeah, I'm just filming with this new action camera just to see how it works, and just to test the audio and things, and experiment going forward. I think would be a good thing, just to have some switch up and try some new things. I was actually considering, because I have the selfie stick in my pocket, maybe I could use that to do some more video using me mode, which kind of showcases me looking like I'm in a video game from like a third person point of view, which is kind of cool. But also maybe tinker with making photographs using 360 and try to, you know, make pictures that are 360 degrees embedded onto my website. You know, maybe I have to do some coding or some sort of magic behind the scenes, but, you know, maybe I'll try that out. You know, I really do want to push the limits. I think with photography, there's just so much more to explore. And so perhaps using this camera for a little while will allow me to creatively thrive. I think that innovation is necessary. I think that the traditional ways of making photographs, while it has its place and legacy, like I like the history of photography and everything, and looking at the old photo books, but I'm trying to adopt new aesthetics and trying to adopt new ways of doing things, and to create a new sort of school or a new way of approaching the medium generally. And I think that with street photography, you know, there's still so much potential. You know, it's a very young medium, photography. It's not that old, right? I like to think of photographers as mad scientists with the camera. And I believe actually going forward that mindset could be interesting, right? Science, right? The science behind things. You know, the man who made the first photograph, Niepce, was a scientist playing with chemicals and created that image in France. And then I picked up that book by Daido Moriyama in Paris, which was basically this meta sort of photography book, sort of paying homage to Mr. Niepce as he made a photograph of the photograph, right? Daido extracted the soul of the medium of photography through that photo book. And actually, upon purchasing it, I had no idea what the history was behind it, but, you know, the more that I flip through it, the more that it intrigues me. One of 350 copies, pretty rare, pretty cool. Beautiful flowers. I think that actually, you know, living in a city, while it has its downsides, when you become a Spartan, right, and you treat every day like you're living in the movie 300, and you become stronger each day, lifting weights, walking long distances, being a member of society, being around other people, you know, putting your fitness and your physiology at the forefront, you know, you can maybe thrive. And I actually think you can thrive. You will thrive living in a city. You know, to remain optimistic, I think I have some radical thoughts around living in the city and modernity, where I'm trying to go primal, right? And try to tap back into the roots of what it means to be human. Because, I still do believe a lot of the ways in which we live in the city is unnatural. I don't think that we should be inside. I don't think that we should be sitting down all day. I don't think that we should be operating computer technology all day. The cell phones in our pockets still blows my mind, right? The way that we can communicate instantaneously. A lot of things that we sort of have adapted in our lives is very much new still, and who knows what the future will hold. Perhaps we will be traveling amongst the cosmos one day. But to stay grounded and rooted in your physical body and understand the connection between your mind, your body, your soul, right? Your soul is your body, your spirit ever becoming the spirit of Dante, right? I am Dante of Philadelphia. But who is Dante? Does Dante exist? The general thought is, the more time you spend indoors, I think the more unhealthy you become. I think that, even pulling up some of my recent experiences, right? So during the pandemic, I worked from home. I even installed a home gym, standing desk, did everything I possibly could to stay healthy and fit during that time. But you're locked away in the tower, and you're locked away at your office, and you're locked away at the computer, and you're being monitored very much so, actually, even working from home, because you're locked into Zoom calls a lot of the times in a meeting. I don't think anyone should be forced to work that way. There should be a sort of option. While it has its benefits, I actually think it's just not good. It's not healthy. The way that we communicate through Zoom and email and all these things is just not natural. It really isn't. I disdain texting, I disdain phone calls, I disdain all this kind of stuff. I like to live in the physical flesh, in real life, IRL, outside. And I believe that being outside, you will thrive, your health will thank you. You must embrace the sun as much as possible. So, it's cloudy out, but even just walking is good for you, right? We're biped humans for a reason. We have 2 legs, so move them. Basically, general gist: waking up in the morning, get your ass outside. I think you will thrive. It's better outdoors, right? Even if you have some sort of office-based job and you can have the option to work from home, try to do it outside and walking. I think that that's the future, right? To be mobile, to be in a constant state of moving. Perhaps being indoors is a root of all problems with modern life, actually. So look, I just love being outside. I love exploring. I love walking endlessly. And I believe treating the camera as a passport or an excuse to just go out there and to see the world and to just remain open to all the different things out there, right? I believe photography makes you more open-minded. You don't really have to travel far. You can just walk down your street and walk around your neighborhood, right? And you can meet new people, see new things, observe details on the streets that you maybe would overlook because of the camera itself and the way that you become more attentive to the real world. And this is where I believe that the power of photography lies. I believe that the power of photography can change the world, right? I believe that because the art form is so accessible, and now with these new technologies in our pockets like the iPhones, we can transcend and we can go beyond as humans through the creation of new art. And perhaps the future of media is in the hands of the citizen, right? Consider the bystander as the ultimate sort of media producer, right? Whether you're making videos, photos, audios, your perspective, your unique voice, it matters actually. And I think that the collective can thrive together through our perspectives being shared. And it's an option. I think that you should share, but everybody has their sort of choice to share one's art or not. But I believe everyone should share whatever art that they create. I believe that the world would be a better place. We need more photographers if anything. And I believe that innovation is the future, whether it's in the world of art, science, technology. I'm more interested in the intersection between fitness and photography currently. I find that these two combine and sort of, you know, work well together because of the physical aspect and the physical nature of making photos and walking around. And yeah, I think there's an interesting connection between fitness and photography, actually. In terms of photography, I think, you know, in the past, using raw files, photographing lots of photos throughout my travels, using backup drives, hard drives, whatever, it's always been a slow process. You know, the lag between making the photo and reviewing the photo is a big deal for me. So switching to the small JPEGs and having everything baked into the file where I don't have to do any processing, all I need to do is plug it into my iPad and use the Photos app to cull through the work. And actually, I believe in just publishing right away. So, you know, do you really even need to check and select, you know, your photos, right? Who really cares? Maybe just publish your whole SD card every day. I actually think that, though, you know, making quick selections, it's not that big of a deal. You can just favorite, and then publish right away. And then perhaps at the end of the year, cull through and select your keepers. You know, there is something to be said about like letting the work marinate, where you allow yourself to be separated from the work. I believe that this is an important thing when determining which photos you believe and deem to be successful or not. So, you know, maybe the general gist is don't be too picky now, but perhaps after a year of photographing, then we can go through the work and actually cull and select our best, if you will. But I still don't really believe that's the goal. Like, it's not about making the selection at the end of the year. It's still, like, for me, more interesting to consider the photographs as a stream of becoming, and more so interested in the stream of consciousness approach, where you let your intuition flow and you let life go wherever it may take you, and you let it come towards you. You're there and you're ready with your camera and you're making photographs. But to just to consider the photos in a new way, where it has nothing to do with a single image or even butting two photos up together to make some sort of story or relationship between the two, but looking at them in consecutive order from the first photo to the last photo you just took. And actually what really matters is new photos. What's next? You know? And I actually believe that the photo slideshow has a lot of potential, where we can perhaps have thousands of photos viewed within a short duration of time, using YouTube, using video press, using a website blog, to then publish work in a way where it can be viewed in a slideshow format, and actually using the slideshow to view work, I find very interesting personally. And what's cool about it is you can actually adjust the speed of the videos that you view on these platforms. So you can have it be sped up really fast, you can have it be really slow, and yeah, maybe there's something there to explore with. I'll have to try to tinker with the slideshow more and see what's up with that. I think that there's potential with audio, slideshow, video, different ways of presenting photographs, different ways of making videos. There's something about the free flow video where you just sort of use the action camera, use the GoPro, use the iPhone, and use it as a way for you to, you know, explore your mind and just sort of let your thoughts run wild and just say whatever comes to your mind. That way you can use the video almost like a writer would with a pen and paper, where instead of actually having to sit down and have a book and a pen or even typing at a computer, you can just speak candidly to a video format and actually look back at it later and then translate it to writing if you choose to. It's a much faster way of getting your thoughts out there, and I can only imagine what the great writers of the past would have left behind. Thinking of Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors, and his book Meditations. He wrote a lot of things for himself and kept them in his own sketchbook or notebook. Yeah, perhaps treating blogging this way, where, you know, any thought that comes to my mind I will share, and let it be a free-flowing process where, you know, even if it's just jotting down a sentence, that can become something, right? The thoughts that we create are now art. And by starting a website blog, I believe you will find more power because of the way that social media landscape is set up, and you're kind of just borrowing their space and publishing their work, your work there. Yeah, it becomes a problem with censorship. It becomes a problem in general because, you know, nothing lasts forever, but perhaps your website will. So yeah, owning your own website with your own domain, I believe, is the future for artists. And to think about your voice being propagated endlessly and your legacy, this is a much more interesting way of going about things, where when you consider the art that we create, we're almost giving like a mini birth, and sort of each piece of art is like our child. I also like to consider waking up in the morning like a mini birth, going to bed is like a mini death, right? And every day is a blank slate. Every day you must wake up and recognize that to be in the state of play, right? The spirit of play, to go back to the childlike state and to see the world anew, right? I believe this is how we can thrive and innovate with our photography, where you forget everything you think you know. Just go out there and let life flow. How does this work?